What a pair we make. Both trying to hide who we are. Both unable to do so. Your men love you. If I knew nothing else about you, that would be enough. But you also tilt when you should withdraw. And that is nightly too.
Welcome to the Bread and Thorns podcast.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Bread and Thorns podcast, a bi-weekly podcast where we sit down and discuss literature, art, media, and other stuff we really like and how they influence the projects that we're working on. I'm Isaac.
And I'm Rosemary.
And today we are going to talk about
A Knight's Tale.
A Knight's Tale is a 2001 American medieval adventure comedy film written, produced, and directed by someone I have no idea about. Brian Helgeland. I am very sorry, Mr. Helgeland, for mispronouncing your last name. Oh, it is?
I don't know.
How do you pronounce it?
I pronounced it nope, now it's gone.
Oh, we're done. We're done. I'm very sorry, Mr. Brian. I'm just gonna call you Mr. Brian because I can't pronounce your last name. But according to
writer, producer, and director.
Yep. According to Wikipedia, you are the writer and producer and director of this film. So good job. The film starts Heath Ledger, Shannon I can't pronounce that one either. Sossamon, Mark Addy, Alan Tudyk, Rufus Sewell, Laura Fraser, Paul Bettany, and I don't know this guy, but James Purefoy. Purefoy?
Purefoy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it has Joker, it has Vision.
Uh-huh.
That's about it.
No, they have like other because the other actors are in other movies as well.
They're in a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows.
There are a lot of side characters in a lot of TV shows. Right. I don't think anyone else is a main character in any TV show or movies. Not that I'm aware of, anyway.
Well, I think they're in TV shows, and then the movies that they do aren't like franchise movies. Right?
Yeah. So we don't know them as popular.
So, other than Paul Bettany, who is Vision in Marvel.
But
he was very different in this movie than he is in Vision.
Yes.
Or not in Vision, in Marvel.
Yeah. Well, in several different, because he does play a little bit of a jester in like a couple movies, but not as often. Like he kind of plays like this melancholy writer dude. In several movies. I can see
him being typecast in a lot of movies because kind of the way he looks and the way he kind of portrays himself.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, I think he plays a depressed dude in a lot of things. He's kind of that
I can
Vision
see that too.
A little bit too.
So in this movie, he's like not the depressed dude, but he's still the outcast and he's making fun of his own depression.
But he's funny. He's like, well, you either laugh or you cry. Naked. I'm going to make everyone laugh.
When he first came on screen, I actually thought he was the knight that had died in the beginning. I was like, oh. He just got up naked and just started walking towards them.
That would have been fantastic.
Anyways, so, that's this movie. This is not on my top 10 list. It is on Rosemary's. And do you want to share?
It's number 3.
Number 3. So we have so far... on Rosemary's list, we have gone through her number 10, which is Palm Springs, Tropic Thunder, which is number 9. We've gone through Deadpool 2, which is her number 7. We've done number 4, 3, and 2. So Princess Bride, Knight's Tale, and The Count of Monte Cristo. And this sits right between them, which is interesting because it's also kind of a period piece like those ones are. So I'm getting this idea that
actually
you like.
Kind of the thing with the top 5 for me.
Really,
no,
the top 5?
Top 4.
Yeah, top 4. I would say is
top 4 is like my period piece stuff. That might actually be why they're up there.
Period piece, fantasy kind of idea. Yeah.
And so, but it's something where I genuinely this is another one of those movies that, like Princess Bride, I have watched since. Not birth, because it came out a couple years after I was born, but
at birth, in the hospital, as you're coming out, the Knight's Tale was on screen, and that was the first thing you saw, Heath Ledger's beautiful face.
That would explain so many things, but no.
Would it?
No, it wouldn't.
Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
There really isn't anything. He's just like charming
He is very
He's
charming.
Really, yeah.
I've actually never seen. No, that's not true. I've seen very few movies with Heath Ledger in them.
Oh, okay.
And this is the first one where he is the main character. And so
That is true.
like
in all the
main
other movies,
character.
yeah, in all the other movies, he's either like the main protagonist, main side character, or the main antagonist.
Mhm. Yeah.
Huh.
So for me, it was kind of a
Okay.
treat to be able to see him like do his acting chops,
Yeah.
but as a younger fella, right? Because
Yeah.
this came out in 2001,
Yeah.
and then, of course, Dark Knight is on my list, and then to see the contrast between that made me really sad that he passed away after Dark Knight because
Aw. So
he
much
had so
potential.
much potential, and I think at least as far as what I've seen from him, that one was really really out there, and it was really really good. So what else could he have done? Yeah.
I just know that like I have always loved this movie, and it honestly, because like Isaac and I have talked about this a little bit, and as you well know, he disagrees with a lot of my movies being on my list of
The
top
vast
10.
majority of those
And part of that's because we take different things from movies, and so I don't mind when my movies have flaws.
Actually, it's
because
not the
they have
vast
certain
majority
things.
now that I look at it.
Really?
Because we haven't done we haven't done one of the movies that is on your list that I haven't seen. So that's the only one that I can't really talk about.
Yeah.
Right. Because I haven't just.
But
never
you've seen
it.
all the other ones except that
I've
one now.
I've seen everything else besides it, and
Yeah.
so far only 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 out of the 10. I don't really know what to do with. And so that's actually a minority, right?
Okay. All right.
So-
I can live with that. But yeah, and so it's something where the way, and for me, the focus with this movie, the reason like why I like it so much is because of the emphasis on the friendship and the camaraderie and the being together. And so unlike a lot of other movies that like, again, there is a lot of romance in this movie, and it's something where for me that's not actually the main point of the movie, which is rare, because usually when there's like a super romantic-y thing, I'm like, oh my god, they're so cute and it's burning and it's beautiful and bland. It's fantastic. And I don't know why, but I sounded like a cartoon character right there for a second.
You
I don't
should do
remember.
voice acting.
I don't remember what it was.
Maybe we should call some people from DreamWorks. You know, you could be
Why
in the
does
next
it-
Shrek
Oh,
movie.
it's the reporter from Gravity Falls. That's what I reminded myself of.
Don't know what that is.
Yeah, he's like this weird, panicky, like very awkward person.
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't
Anyway,
know where to place that voice,
fine.
but the voice in your head is actually different from the voice that we hear, right?
that is true.
So maybe
I've actually recorded myself and like listened to my voice enough that I can hear how it sounds to other people. So I can
so
hear
you're
both.
guesstimating right now, like
Kind of.
okay,
So
you're thinking, what am I going to what did I sound like to other people, but not to myself?
no.
But maybe to yourself, you sound like a horror character, and then you're just
Huh.
updating.
No.
No, okay.
No.
I was
I
just-
used to have like
I was
'cause
trying to
a
continue
lot
the
of
line of
people
thought.
a lot of people don't have like a solid sense of where their voice is, and so it's something where yeah, like my voice is much rounder outside of my head. It's
I don't know
weird.
what that means, but
I know what it means. I don't care if any of you understand. You're not the voice in my head, anyways. But,
but maybe that's the way a lot of people would
Yeah.
express, like think about it that way.
Yeah.
I think my voice sounds like, let me think. My voice, well, actually, as I've gotten older, the voice that I hear from my recordings has matched
Does this count
more.
as a fourth wall break? If we're discussing the sound of our voice with our voices, and that's
What is the
that's the
fourth
main
wall
thing.
that we're breaking?
I don't know. It
don't
just
either.
seems like there's some kind of breakage
So
happening.
someone's watching that is, I don't even know.
I don't know.
All right.
Anyway, sorry, but yeah. So your voice sounds like.
That felt like a creative moment that went nowhere. I feel bad. I feel really,
Curious.
really bad.
That's why I was curious. Also, I'm sorry in advance today, guys. I am a little bit tired, so you're just gonna hear a bunch of laughter that may not make sense. I promise. If I have the ability to tell you what was in my head, I will let you know. But if not,
Maybe we'll have to do a second recording after this
Oh,
because
God.
when you hear it back, you'll be like,
please no.
I don't know what happened there. I don't
Like
know
I
what
could
was
talk about
saying.
this movie for ages, but I'd rather watch this movie again than like talk about it again.
Okay.
Because I love this movie, and so like this is both a movie that like I can sit down and like be a vegetable for and just let it happen to me, while also like being able to just enjoy the movie
Interesting.
and focus on the different characters and the writing style. And
Well, because we
the
were
different
talking right
things.
before the podcast, so we were talking about how good films are things that you want to experience, right? And so you just said you would want to be the vegetable experiencing this this
I
film.
feel like
The potato on the
experiencing a
couch.
film though should like you should also feel like not only are you part of the experience, but you also want to go join in the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to die, but it'd be really cool to be part of Tropic Thunder. Like that universe.
You don't
want to
be the director.
I kind of like not being the
accidentally
blown
stepped
up
on that line.
director, but like I would actively like I think it'd be really fun. Like, yeah.
It's like you want to be the fly on the wall that is watching it. Right?
Like you want to be in the universe with them, even if it's
Yeah,
like
I
it's
agree.
just the non-death related part.
Yeah, I totally
guess.
agree. Good films, I think, have that quality where they invite you in and you are that fly on the wall.
Yeah,
that,
and
that
so
is able to
for
experience
me
it.
with this movie, I do have that where I do, especially because this is a very romanticized Middle Ages. This is not
Yes.
this is not like.
Well, this is not even romanticized.
True.
It's anachronistic, right? You
Yeah.
have things that relate what's going on in that world into the modern world, including, of course, the music and everything else. And so, for just to briefly summarize, for those of you who have not seen A Knight's Tale, like I hadn't literally 2 days ago, that is me admitting that I watched it last night. Actually, watched it last night and this morning.
You want to know something funny? I also watched it last night, and I knew that there was like a 90-something+% chance that you were also watching it last night.
So we were basically watching it at
Yes.
the same time,
Pretty
but
much.
separately.
That's why I messaged you. Actually, I messaged him because I was like, "Hey, there's like after credits
Oh,
scene.
no.
Did you not see the after credit scene?"
No, I did.
Okay, good.
But I didn't. When you messaged me, I was already on something else.
Yeah.
And so I had to finish the movie this morning. Yeah. I had quite a busy schedule.
That's fine. It's
But
understandable.
for
It's
those of you
fine.
who are like me, this is the spoiler-free summary. A Knight's Tale follows a peasant named William who poses as a knight, and the knight's name, which I actually this is one that I really like, was Sir Ulrich von Liechtenstein,
from
right?
Gelderland.
And
Gelderland.
that's actually a real person.
Yep,
in
and
history.
a real place.
But this movie doesn't really.
It
I'm
does
sure
not
it doesn't.
follow. Well, actually, the name and some of the thought processes about this movie were taken from Geoffrey Chaucer's The Knight's Tale, which apparently. Because I hadn't really paid attention to this part because I didn't really care. Like the nerd, the writer nerd.
This is one of the few
I
movies
did
that you
actually
didn't
kinda-
care.
Huh?
This is one of those few movies that you didn't care. Because with
Yeah.
The Count of Monte Cristo, you looked into
Yeah, I
history.
love the
With
book.
Princess Bride, you
I
looked
love
into
the book.
Or you
Yeah.
love And so this
I
one you didn't
have-
love the book because the book is
It's a little tiny itty bitty story.
1300
Well, but it's also unrelated. Like it's basically
Right.
like these two dudes that are imprisoned, and part of being in prison is there's like this window, and there's this like really hot chick who's somebody's sister outside the window, and both of them fall in love with her, and they're basically like, "Hey, I love her. You can't have
Wait,
her."
that's The Knight's Tale?
That's the Knight's Tale that Geoffrey
Oh.
Chaucer wrote, and basically like one of the knights gets freed for like good behavior, and then the other one has to like break out by poisoning someone, and then the brother who's his like, well, no one's gonna marry my sister unless both of you go get 100 knights and you come back and have a tournament, and whoever wins the tournament gets the hand of my sister, and then the one knight who wins the tournament ends up dying because of poisoning.
What?
And so his last wish is that she marries his friend because the friend will take care of her. And so it's something where the friend ends up marrying the girl.
So the two were competing
Yes.
for her.
Yes.
And
They were friends beforehand. But
then just because of
then one of them dies.
cataclysmic events
Yes.
of life,
Yes.
it doesn't matter because
Yes.
of the one person.
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of like Candid of just like bad things happen and happen
Well-
and happen and happen.
If that's the story of The Knight's Tale, I do appreciate this one a little bit more now because it's not like that. In this film, there are two knights that are trying to win the hand of a princess, but they don't.
Well, beautiful lady.
Oh, she's not a princess.
I don't think she's a princess. I'm pretty sure she's not a princess.
Oh man, maybe we.
Did
should
you
look
think
that
she was
up.
a princess?
I didn't.
No,
Oh,
it's just a
okay.
lady of noble birth.
Right. That's not a
Bound
princess, I
to the
guess.
church and encouraged to be faithful to God, but enjoys the fun and tricks in life.
According to Wikipedia.
Okay.
Can you explain your laughter? I was lost. a
My
little bit
brain
there.
was just like, Wikipedia is beautiful and has like practically nothing to do with God, and it's kind of fantastic how they have like this apathetic view of God in there,
right,
and it leaks into everything. And so it was like she's encouraged to be
bound
faithful to
to the
God,
church, encouraged to be faithful to God, but
enjoys the fun and
Right.
tricks in life. It was just I don't know.
the irony.
It was sardonic. I don't know if I'm using that word right.
I
feel
don't
like
think you're
I
using that
am,
word
but
right.
it feels like that
That's
in my
okay.
head.
All right, so to finish up the summary,
Uh-huh.
the movie is about basically jousting tournaments. It's for me when I was watching it, it was kind of a hybrid between the romance story and a typical sports movie, right? And
The
kind
second
of
he
put
said that
into
to me,
them
I was like, okay, you're both right, and I hate this.
that it's a sports movie and a romantic
That
movie.
you pointed that out, and that I hadn't
Oh.
figured that out myself, because I was just like, no, it's just fun. Honestly,
Oh, yeah.
I
There
didn't
were
really...
beats in the movie when I was like watching it, and I was
Yeah.
thinking, oh, that's like Mighty Ducks. Oh,
Yeah,
that's like Miracle.
okay.
Oh, that's like Space Jam. And so
Those are
there
all
were-
excellent movies.
Yeah. In my opinion, better. No, I'm kidding. All right. Actually, no, I have to say that. I love Bugs Bunny.
I like this movie more than I like Space Jam. I also didn't really grow up with Space Jam, even though I am
Space
technically,
Jam,
like,
Space
based on the different lines that have been drawn, I'm technically a 90s kid. There are a lot of 90s stuff that, like, I absolutely was a part of. There's some of it that I wasn't, like Space Jam. Space Jam was not a part of my childhood.
Space Jam.
I've seen it now. I own the movie now on accident.
We actually watched the movie when we were working in the same.
Yeah,
Little-
that
little
was my
thing.
movie. I brought it to the store.
Oh,
That I
wait,
accidentally...
but you watched it before?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. You didn't just buy it and just.
No, I
put it in.
actually
That was the
didn't
first time.
buy it.
All right, we're admitting to some
No.
interesting, morally gray.
No,
legally gray
there was a
areas
guy
here.
who let me borrow it, and then he didn't want to deal with me giving it back to him, so he just said to keep it. And I'm like, really?
A
Like,
guy let her borrow.
yeah,
Borrow.
yeah.
it.
And I tried giving it back to him, and he was like, nah, it's too late. It's done. I'm like, oh,
I
okay.
already purchased
Never
another copy.
mind. Sorry.
Anyways, for the third time to finish this summary. So Heath Ledger, who stars as this knight, William, poses as a knight, poses as the knight to go to these tournaments and, in his mind, win the heart of the woman of noble birth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. And of course, being a Hollywood movie,
See, but
he
like
does. Spoiler alert.
that's not okay. The reason why I love this movie is because that's not the point of the movie. She
Okay.
doesn't exist at this point in the movie. The reason why she is important in the movie is because, like, one of the lines is when he points her out to Geoffrey Chaucer, when he points her out to Jeff. Jeff's like, dude, you aim too high, and he's like, if there's another way to aim, I don't know it. And it's like that's kind of that is
Oh
his
man, I thought
character
you were saving
flaw.
that for the dime segment.
No.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
No, it's just a really good line.
Okay. I don't actually remember that line at all.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
Keep
Anyway,
going.
basically, like that's his main character flaw, is the idea that like he can't do anything but aim higher, and it's a beautiful.
Will you call that a character flaw?
It's both. The best character flaws are also their best strength. When you have their strength is also a weakness. That's usually part of
What
having
is
a
the weak
well-developed
part?
character.
What is the weakness part of that character? Or part of that
Because he's not
characteristic?
able to say when it's time to stop doing something. And so it's like integrity means so much to him. No, not integrity. Integrity is the wrong word.
I didn't
It's
get
kind
that
of his
from the movie.
pride, but like his pride is so strong
I
that
agree his pride
there's
was
an
strong.
infallibility to it. Like there's impenetrableness to it that he's unwilling to let go of his pride in order to, I guess, have humility. It's a flaw because he's unable to.
So his flaw was his arrogance, not necessarily his desire to aim high, right? I mean, unless
think
you're
that
talking
was
about
part
aiming
of it, but
high as
Flynn's-
like such a broad term that
Well, no,
it
because okay, so
encompasses
he wanted to
everything.
be a knight, and then he wanted to date this like lady of noble birth who's clearly like impressive. If Count Adamar also wants her, it's not just that she's beautiful; she's also like probably very highly ranked. And
They actually didn't solve that by the end
No.
of the film, which was weird. Which, like, he told, sorry, I'm going to refer to him as Discount Jude Law right now because
This
in my head,
is another thing that Isaac said to me that I was like, you know what? Because like Jude Law, in my opinion, did not look like Rufus Sewell until
I mentioned it.
Until he mentioned it, and then I still couldn't see it, and I had to go look up Google Images, and apparently Google agrees with Isaac because they had all these pictures comparing the two, and I was like, oh, all right. And so it was like when Jude Law is upset about something, he
Right.
looks like Rufus
Yes.
Sewell, but that's
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
So in
So
there
he's
was a recent
discounted
movie.
angry Jude Law.
Yes, yeah. There was a recent
Ugh.
movie called King Arthur. I
Yeah.
don't know if you saw it.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's
where
the
Jude
villain.
Law is the villain.
Yeah.
And so when
I actually saw
Rufus
that.
Sewell
Wow.
came on screen,
Yeah.
I thought at first I was like, oh, Jude Law. And then suddenly,
Oh, wow.
wait, his nose is wrong.
It was also
Wait,
like 15 years ago.
Right, his
15, no, because that one came out in like 2015, 2016.
yes.
The King Arthur. Yeah.
But they, you know, Hollywood can make people look younger and everything like that. Jude Law is actually not that young
No.
anymore, I don't think. Yeah. So,
Nope.
so I saw it and I was like, oh wow, this is Jude Law. But he looks older in this movie. But I know this movie came before most of the Jude Law movies I've seen. So I was thinking, okay, this is not Jude Law, but I can't get it out of my head now. And so I didn't know that it was Rufus Sewell until after the movie
so
was
weird to
over.
me.
And I looked it up. But so maybe Jude Law is a discount Rufus Sewell,
That would make more sense.
right? Because the age difference and everything like that. I wouldn't know. Anyways, when he came on screen, and he was talking, not when he came on screen, when he was talking to, when he was
Jocelyn?
torturing,
Oh, never mind.
the
Will?
dude, right?
When he was torturing Will at the
Torturing
end?
William, yeah. Was
Okay.
that at the end? Okay,
was
maybe I'm
towards the
getting
end,
it wrong.
dude.
Okay, so I could be getting it wrong.
Towards the end.
Oh no, they were sitting on the horses, right? And they were
Yeah.
about to enter into the tournament, and he tells William.
She's a trophy.
Well, no, he tells her that he's been in negotiations with her dad
Yeah.
to marry her.
Yeah.
So that wasn't solved at the end of the movie. So is she still gonna be?
I don't think
be
so. Well,
married
honestly,
off?
okay. So the two things that I actually this movie is kind of similar to Princess Bride in the way that like they don't answer a lot of the like, hey, are they even gonna get the happy ending they fought so hard for kind of questions.
Oh, I thought that was at the end of
because-
Princess Bride.
Okay, he also is in the Middle Ages and he has a giant metal pointy thing
Right.
made of lead stuck in his chest.
It was made of lead.
I thought so.
Okay.
Thought it was a lead tip.
Oh, I thought it was just a black metal tip.
I thought it was a lead tip. Anyway, so like he has a lead tip in his chest or some kind of metal tip in his chest, as well as like she's just made out with this dude in the middle of a jousting arena. Like, so she's thoroughly compromised and ruined herself with this dude who has only recently become
that's
a
probably
knight, who's
true,
like
yeah.
also.
But there's
like,
a lot
he doesn't
of
actually have
anachronisms
that
in this
much
movie.
money. Like he has money, but he doesn't have that much money. Like all the money he has, he's earned, and so like he wouldn't have as much as Adamar. And so like would the dad even do?
Well, he doesn't
Especially if
have a real
Adamar's willing
home.
to take her anyways.
He doesn't have a real home. He lives in
Yeah,
tents.
he doesn't even have a real home, and
Right.
so he has to buy a home. However, I think when you're knighted, you do get land.
He has to.
Actually, no, because you don't. Yeah, because there's landed
Right.
knights and unlanded
So I'm sure
knights.
like the Prince Edward, or was it Prince Edward?
would be like, oh, you guys
no.
are cute, King Edward at the end.
Right. Edward the Black Prince, right? He comes in, I'm sure he's gonna be favorable to
Be like,
William.
hey,
Be like,
lovebirds.
yeah, you wanna
Here's this
you want
very
this
small
land.
extra
You wanna take over
castle.
that other guy's land. Discount
Yeah.
Jude Law's land. They didn't know him as Discount Jude Law.
No,
I shouldn't call him that. Seems
probably
rude.
not. It's rude to both of them.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry, Jude Law.
And Rufus Sewell.
Oh, I forgot that guy's name.
Ouch.
But yeah.
Technically, I can call Jude Law Dumbledore, so you could actually say that he's a discount Dumbledore.
Why is that?
Because Jude Law plays Dumbledore in the magical beasts and where to find them.
Oh, right. Right.
I
But he's
really
not
hope I got
actually a
that name right.
discount Dumbledore. He is Dumbledore.
No, Jude Law. So if Rufus Sewell is a discount Jude Law, then he's also a
I
discount
actually
Dumbledore.
didn't remember that Jude Law
Yeah.
played Dumbledore.
Yeah. Young Dumbledore.
Sorry, Jude Law.
And there was also like the like age gap, so it's supposed to be in like a manner of like a couple decades. He's supposed to look like super old Dumbledore.
Did
It
they,
was weird.
So
They didn't explain it.
did they ever? Okay, now we're talking about a different movie. So,
Talking about Harry Potter.
but yeah, what were we talking about before?
The
Completely
plot.
forgot. The plot. Well, we finished summarizing the
Oh
plot.
no, okay, so I guess just like the friendship involved, and so it's something where even though this is a romance movie,
Oh,
this
right.
is something where for me the reason why I love it is because of his friends and how much they love him and care about him and how much he loves and cares about them. While
So this is
also
like a
not sacrificing
camaraderie,
his
friendship
dreams.
ensemble movie.
This
for
is
you.
more, which is weird because like I usually lean towards heavily romance movies, and so the fact that I love this movie because of the friendship rather than loving it for the romance, which is weird because that's not normal for
Well,
me.
we actually talked about this a little bit right before the podcast, which is I looked at your top 10 list, and a lot of the movies aren't really romances. You know,
Yeah.
you've told
Or
me
like
before
the
the
main
same
reason
thing.
why I loved it isn't the romance.
Right. So, but you've told me before that one of the things that makes you tick is the romance. That's what you gravitate towards. But then looking at your top 10 list, actually some of them, or most of them really, aren't.
Yeah.
The romance isn't the main part.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Pretty much.
are you contradicting yourself?
No, because if we were to do like top 10 favorite books, first of all, it would take significantly more time. But
It'd be like
they
Twilight,
would.
New Moon.
Oh my God, no.
Is that called New Moon?
Yes, that's
Okay.
book 2.
Okay. And then what's number 3?
Why should I tell you?
I
So
don't
you
know.
can add.
Is it like Dark Moon?
I don't know. No.
Silver Moon.
Actually, Dark Moon, Eclipse, Dark Moon.
Oh, Eclipse. Okay. All right.
And then it's Breaking Dawn
Oh, see, there you go. You told me. Were there 2
Yeah.
parts in Breaking Dawn?
for the movie.
Oh, but not for the
Well,
book.
no, in the book it's kind of 2 parts. It's weird because they do it from the last book is done from like multiple perspectives.
Uh-huh.
And then there is like the part before the baby and then the part after the baby. So
But
they do
those
kinda
4
do
books would
that.
be in your top 10.
No,
Oh, not even
Never.
one of those would be in your top
No.
10. Oh.
no, because the writing like I think.
Oh, I know what's in your top.
That she. Oh dear, no,
For
you don't. I would
Beauty
bet
and the
money.
Beast.
But like.
Right?
Which
you told me that.
version? Because I can't pick just one. So like, okay, my top 10 probably has like 4 or 5 different variations of Beauty and the Beast. Which Beauty and the Beast do you think you would be referring to? I would be genuinely impressed if you picked one.
So I'm guessing the Disney one is not your favorite.
No.
Yeah. You were the one that you were reading the other day.
Which one?
I don't remember what that one. No, you were reading the
actual French adaptation?
Yeah, right.
I actually I like that one, but I like other versions better.
Okay.
Cause like that one's good, especially for like an outline, and it's definitely helped me with several of my stories. But it's not. Yeah, it's not my favorite. So I have several things. I'm sorry, my brain is just a little foggy, but like I'm trying to think because like okay, I could do a top 10 of the Beauty and the Beast stories. Like I could actually do like one of them would include at least one book from the Court of Thorns and Roses series. It would include Uprooted. It would include.
Oh, so these aren't Beauty and the Beast stories only, but they're like
no,
adaptations
yeah,
of
they're
the
adaptations of the
fairy
Beauty and the
tale.
Beast stories.
Okay.
So it's something where for me like
That's
Beauty
why I
and
was
the Beast-
confused. I was like, there's
Yeah.
more than 10.
Well, it's like the Snow Queen is my
and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast and Snow Queen are my 2 favorite fairy tales.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not my 2 favorite stories. They're like 2 of my. It's like Count of Monte Cristo. Count of Monte Cristo is that's one of the reasons why I was having problem creating this top 10 is because these are all movies. These are all films that the story. I love the story because I can use the story for my own purposes, and I love watching them because it reminds me of why I write, or it reminds me of what I'm aiming for and what I'm doing with my life in a creative way. And so it's something where. With books, it's a little bit different because, like, in my head, I'm watching a movie. I can go watch a 6-hour-long movie by reading a really good book. Like, I can do that. And so watching movies is automatically, like, not as good as reading a book for me.
Okay.
And so it's something where, like, films can captivate me. Like, Arrival was amazing. It was absolutely phenomenal. And I don't think they could have done that in a book as well as they did it in the film. They would have had to do it differently in order to do
Well, it was a short
justice.
story first.
Well, no, yes, but I'm saying as like an actual novel. If they were to do a novel version of Arrival,
Well, actually, that is one of my arguments about film in general, which is films are a kind of moment or slice of life, and it's meant to be very condensed. And so, I mean, again, we were talking about this before, but a lot of the movies that try to do the entire life, I think, often fail, or they try to make a lot of different points for like a message or something like that. They fail because they don't realize that films are, for at least, of course, in my opinion, right? But films are at their strongest when they focus on singular topics and singular subjects. And so if you want the world, right, but visually, oftentimes the TV serial is a much better format because they get to dig much deeper and into the characters and into the plot, into the themes.
And ironically, I like, as far as TV shows, like favorite TV shows, most of mine actually only have like a couple seasons, so it's actually not super like it's in depth, but it's to the point as well.
Right. You want something to have a beginning.
Like I love Supernatural, and Supernatural would not be one of my favorite TV shows because it never ends.
It's still on?
It's still on.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's been going strong for at least 13, 14, 15 years, I think.
Okay.
I want to say they're on season 15 or 16, if not 17. Like they're going.
Right.
And it's something where like it's impressive, and I love them, and the actors are they're wonderful. It's a delightful show to watch, and they do promote a lot of things that I agree with, and so they have a lot of fun with it too, and it's helped a lot of people, but it's not one of my favorite TV shows because I'm not going to sit through all of it, especially not more than once.
Well, you can't sit through all of it because all of it hasn't been.
And so there are shows like, and then like Isaac loves Friends. It's one of his favorite TV shows, if not, is it your favorite?
No.
Yeah, okay. It's one of his favorite TV shows, and so it's something where different things like, honestly, oh no, what's
Brain fart.
No, the comic. The manga that's also live action. It's remember the murder one.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'm very like.
I'm so sorry.
I don't want to say it because I want to see you. See you figure it out.
Why do you want to torture me?
I'm kidding. It's called Erased.
Erased. Okay, cool. I'm like, it has something to do with memory. I don't remember, but like that would probably be one of my favorites.
The real name of it is The Town Without Me, which is a much better name.
That is. Ooh, that's good. But like that would probably be one of my favorites because of how well, especially the anime. I didn't realize how much better the animated version was until Isaac was like, "You're watching the anime." I was like, "All right, fine." And then I was like, "Okay,
well, I told you to watch it first, right? Because I think I introduced it to you.
Yeah, you were the one who introduced it. You
And
were like, "I
then
have
you
to
went
watch
onto
it," and I went to Netflix, and Netflix had the live action version, and I was like, "This is amazing, wonderful." And he's like, "Yeah, isn't it?" And I was like, "Wait, that didn't happen in there." And he's like, "Wait, what?"
What version did you watch?
And I was like, "There's a live action." And he was like, "Oh."
I think at that point I didn't know there was a live action.
No, you didn't.
And so I went back home to watch it, and I couldn't make it past like the 20 minutes.
Yeah, you were so disappointed. And so you were like, "No, you didn't. That doesn't count." And I was like, "All right, fine." So, but that especially the animated version, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like they do an amazing job with that one. So that would probably be up there. But like so would Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls is only like 2 seasons, and it starts off a little bit silly, and then it actually kind of goes into deeper points, and the animation style is delightful. Like I like that one more than I like Rick and Morty because it's I don't want to say more tame, but like Rick and Morty is more about it's like it's closer to Ed, and Eddie. And I didn't like Ed, and Eddie.
And
it was just a little like I preferred Phineas and Ferb to Ed, and Eddie, and so something where Gravity Falls is more like Phineas and Ferb, and Rick and Morty is a little bit more like Ed, and Eddie. It's just like they also have their own
Ed and
style.
Eddie on Cartoon Network? Was
Maybe?
that Nickelodeon?
I think it was Cartoon Network.
I think it was Cartoon Network.
Because Nickelodeon didn't have shows like that were like gross.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Cartoon Network was a little bit more risque.
Right.
Didn't Cartoon Network have Teen Titans? Like the good Teen Titans?
Yeah. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
I think I think you're right.
And
it
I
was
think they
Cartoon
had Ben
Network.
10 too. I liked
I've never
that
seen that.
show. You probably wouldn't like it, but I liked the show.
Are all those films
I wanted that watch.
like group ensemble Friends films? Is that
Actually, yeah.
Okay.
Probably. Actually,
So
with Gravity Falls, it's friends, but it's also like the 2 siblings specifically.
okay?
They're twins.
I haven't seen Gravity Falls.
And so
either,
that would honestly, I would recommend Gravity Falls. I think you would like Gravity Falls. I think that you might, if you'd have to get past the first couple episodes because they are a little silly. But I think you would. I think you'd have fun with it.
It's a Western cartoon. It's not a.
No.
It's not okay. It's not. It's.
Wait, what do you mean? Oh yeah,
it's a Western cartoon.
Rather
it's not
than like
an anime.
Yeah, no, it's a Western cartoon.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's good. I really like it. But
What was it
Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls.
Yeah, Gravity Falls, Erased. Like I have like shorter TV shows that I would absolutely like. Haunting of Hill House. Wait, no, that's not. Yeah, no, it's a TV show. I would definitely put Haunting of Hill House in there.
I was thinking Cabin in the Woods when you said that, but that's not the same.
No, it is not. No, it's not. Cabin in the Woods is good, but like one of my friends pointed out that you can kind of only watch it once.
Is a serious spoof movie.
Oh.
Sorry to our listeners. Right before this podcast, Rosemary and I were talking about serious spoof movies.
Yeah, and
I couldn't name one for some reason. I couldn't. I don't know why I couldn't name one, but there it is. Cabin in the Woods. So like A Knight's Tale, it's according to you at least, A Knight's
To
Tale
me,
is
like
a serious
originally when I watched it,
spoof.
like it wasn't like a romance movie with sports stuff. It was like to me, that's why I thought Isaac might not like it, is because of the fact that it's more of like a serious spoof movie, and he doesn't like it when spoof movies take themselves seriously. Like Tropic Thunder didn't
Cabin
take
in the
itself
Woods
serious.
is good. Cabin in the Woods
Cabin in the Woods
is
is good.
Good movie.
Cabin in the Woods is good.
I
It definitely
didn't
does
take
not
this as a
trump-
serious spoof movie. I think if
Yeah.
I were to view it through that lens, I would like it less.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I
I'm letting him keep his opinion on the romance with the sports
right
stuff.
because it makes me like it more.
It makes him have a little more respect for it.
Yeah. This is a sports movie, I think, because the jousting is such a big component in it. And then now that you mentioned the kind of backseat that the romance takes, I think that really kind of helps to justify it in my head as that, where you have the main part of the movie is this guy named William. He really wants to be the best that no one ever was. He doesn't want to catch anybody, but
dear.
this is his real test.
Yeah.
And to be trained
Yeah.
is his cause.
Yeah.
So
Kind of.
Pokemon.
Oh dear.
But he does jousting, right? And what I really appreciated about the movie was that it kind of gave a cinema, like kind of a film visual aspect to jousting that really for me before it was just I read it in books and I thought it was interesting, right? But this made it more real, like kind of like the fly in the wall idea that you're talking about until they tried to do the actual jousting. Which was
he pointed out something that I
me.
have actually never really like. That's not true. I noticed it in like one or two of the fights, but I thought that could be attributed to like, okay, maybe something happened and they were
Right.
concerned, especially because they look away at the end, and so
Right.
I was like, maybe that's one of the reasons why he doesn't, is because he can follow through. But
So
Isaac
one of the things
pointed
that
out-
in this film that I almost immediately noticed when I was watching, not in the
Yeah.
first part actually
Yeah.
when the guy passes away, but afterwards, whenever there was jousting, the person who was supposed to lose in the film, they would turn their jousting stick away. What is it called? There's a specific name
Lance.
for it. Lance. There you go. They would turn their lance away from the person so that there would be room for the person who was supposed to win the joust to hit them on the chest. And it bothered me a lot because it was the
If
setup
I
is
had
a sports
noticed,
movie.
I probably would have been a little bit bothered, but like.
Right. But for me, right, the setup was a sports movie, and this kind of thing, like when you're watching movies like Miracle or even teen movies like Mighty Ducks or something like that, it's very real, the portrayal of the sport. And so to have something like that very obviously shown really bothered me. And I just...
Well, especially like, because one of the things that, and I was pretty sure, and then I double checked, is like they would have the lance scored, so
Yep.
like it would break more easily.
Yep.
So like it also shouldn't have like really really hurt. Like it still would hurt, but like.
Well, so my
not
proposal was just to
really.
use something that's foam, right,
styrofoam.
for the actual charge, and then what
Maybe
you could
they
do...
tried that and it looked too silly.
But they did it at the end. Remember that? Right? When... Oh, man. I
Wait,
was
they
gonna call
did
him...
that? No, I thought you said
When-
that they did the cutting sequence was good, not the lance part.
No, so what they did when the... So at the end, for those who don't know, William is against the Count Adamar. So you can just think of it as Heath
Andrew.
Ledger versus Rufus Sewell. Right? That's how you pronounce his name?
You need
Okay.
glasses to see well. Sorry, that was really horrible. I was just like trying to come up with something.
I'm going to allow
that was
you
really bad.
to entertain yourself, to keep yourself awake there. So.
Oh, okay. That's actually probably a good idea.
But it's them two, right?
Yeah.
And they're coming against each other. And the trick with Rufus Sewell's stick is that his jousting stick at the end has a little spike thing, right?
Mhm.
That's supposed to pierce the armor
Yes.
of
And
the
actually
knight,
hurt him.
right? And actually can potentially kill him,
Mhm.
right? Because you said it was lead, right? And
I
so-
could have sworn it was lead.
yeah. So in that sequence, when they did that, they actually cut away, and then you can see the thing go in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so to me, it was obvious. Okay, they know this technique where you can kind
Why
of
aren't they
zoom in
doing it
on
with the
the
rest of the
action,
movie?
right? So why
Okay.
not kind of cut away and then kind of show the after effects of the splinter rather than this kind of thing where the lance leans away.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it bothered me quite a bit when that happened. And I couldn't take the jousting very seriously after that. But I still like kind of the energy behind all of it, like
well,
the
one
crowd.
of the things is like, okay, one of the amazing things with this movie, one of the reasons why I love it is because of the soundtrack. Because like you'd think that it'd be like, oh, this medieval music, and then they start you off with Queen.
Right.
Okay, so it is.
We will
rock you.
And I liked what they did with the there's a guitar solo in that piece, and what they did was they had those medieval trumpets to it. Yeah,
they had
that was
the
quite
best
clever.
part when you realize when the camera goes to the trumpet guys, and then it's like and then they put down the horns, and you're like, oh my god, they had it pretended like it was it was amazing.
Right.
I just honked.
That was very clever on their part.
Yeah, so it was beautiful. But no, but I love this soundtrack, and it has like Lowrider, Taking Care of Business, The Boys Are Back in Town, You Shook Me All Night Long, like just dudes.
Yeah, and it's not just modern music, but it's mixed into like a more traditional soundtrack. They
have the medieval stuff in there too, as well, or the hints.
And the
of
mixing
it.
was done really, really well. So there was a part where Heath Ledger's dancing with, I forgot her name for now.
Yes, and just Shannon or Jocelyn, just pick one.
Oh, Jocelyn, I'll pick that one.
Jocelyn.
Jocelyn,
Jocelyn's the one in the movie.
Okay, so Jocelyn.
Yeah.
And they're dancing, and they go from this nice medieval little. Yeah, into. I forgot which song it was, but.
It's Golden Years. It's
okay.
I am
David
not
Bowie.
super fond of David Bowie, and so I didn't know this was David Bowie until like 15 years later.
Okay.
So that was actually a little tiny bit disappointing that I was like, oh, all right.
But now you like that specific song.
No, because like I appreciate the film. It's fun, and that song is fun, but it's still not my favorite song in the movie. My favorite song in the movie would probably have to be either like The Boys Are Back in Town or like The We Will Rock You in the beginning, like honestly. Because like Lowrider always makes me laugh because you have like the like horrible, he's training for a month sequence, and it's delightful. He like nearly drowns at one point, and his friends are just standing there laughing. Right. It's great. It's good stuff.
So part of the reason why I was kind of thrown off a little bit by the anachronism, so like when they were doing the We Will Rock You, when they were doing Golden Years. Actually, it was just We Will Rock You, but when they did that in the beginning, it was the crowd was doing the boom boom ch, boom boom ch, right, with their hands, right, and it was like, okay, this is gonna be a kind of fun comedy kind of feel, but there wasn't that much comedy in it, right? Most of the comedy came from Paul Bettany's character. What was his name? Jeffrey
Chaucer.
Jeffrey Chaucer, right?
The only person who's like actually a famous character in this, other than the Black Prince of Wales.
Yeah, the Black Prince of Wales is really famous, actually.
Yeah, but so is Jeffrey Chaucer. Like the Canterbury Tales are like really, really popular.
Yeah, and so other than him, his character being the comedic character, I was kind of thrown off by the rest of the movie because there was no real other comedic points, I would say, in the film.
Really? Well, no, I guess he was part of the dancing. Because he's there.
Well,
continuously, so I guess all the funny stuff happens around him, but he's not the only reason why it happens.
Right. So whereas a more comedic, what I'm saying is that it threw me off because I was looking forward to a mainly comedy at that point, but then it turned into more of a drama / sports / romance. And I'm not saying I'm disappointed necessarily, but it just threw me off. Yeah, it was quite interesting.
Okay, very cool. I like that. But no, with this movie, it's basically you have this young man who has wanted to be a knight since he was very, very little. Like his dad, and especially because his dad was a thatcher. So the idea is like, and he was he fixed nets and stuff too. And so you'd think that he'd want his son to be like his apprentice and carry that on. And instead, he gave his son to a knight. So that way his son could practice and learn and potentially like change his stars. That's one of the lines in the film.
Is a thatcher a person who just weaves?
No, a thatcher is someone who fixes roofs.
That's
but
what
it's
I thought.
Also,
so I was very confused when he was weaving stuff.
Well, it's because you can't be a blind thatcher.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, his dad is blind by the end of the movie, but which is also really funny because then you have the realization at the end that like he's been brought to a jousting match and he can't see anything, and so she leans over and he's like, he's won, and the dad's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, even though he like didn't see anything. It's like it's cool, but like.
Oh, I thought that was more of a touching moment rather than a funny moment.
I thought it was amusing for me, like because at first I was like, it's so touching, and then I was like, wait, he literally was just sitting there, hearing like dun 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 dun.
But you want to support your kids.
And then it was
that
done.
is a desire, or most of the time, it's the desire of a father You
Yeah.
want to support your kids when they're doing sports.
And he
stuff.
got to sit next to the king.
Oh, did he?
They were up there. Him and the Jocelyn were up there with the king. They were sitting right next to him.
I don't remember that.
Okay, all right.
That's okay. I don't mind what I don't remember.
Anyway, but it's something where he's able to be a page and then a squire to this knight and work towards whatever his goal is. And then when the knight dies, he's like, wait, we can use this as an opportunity.
That was the same knight, right?
Yes, that was that night. That was Sir Ector. And basically he goes and decides he's going to change his stars, and which is what his dad encouraged him to do. And because the whole idea is like, no one can change the stars, and he's like, you go change the stars, and it was just fun.
It was just fun.
It was just fun. It was cool, good stuff. And so then he goes with his friends, and I love the scene where like the friends are like, no, we want the food, we want to go home, like we're gonna fight you for our money,
right.
Like how dare you take this away from us?
I did like that beginning.
He's so good.
I actually thought what would happen was at that point,
Yeah.
right, was they were gonna tackle him. I expected that, but they were gonna tackle him, take the money, and then just run away, and then he would have to go find new friends. I thought that was gonna be the story, but yeah.
Now they've been together for too long.
Right, because later it's revealed that
Roland has been there for a really long time.
Which I thought was really cool. I thought that was a good connection back.
Which also makes sense as to why he is a little bit more of the father figure for William at that point.
Well, also, it makes sense in
brother,
terms of, like, he's not the one that tried to bite Heath Ledger's hand and take the money. He was just more... He was more on board with everything. Watt
was just like, I'm so hungry. Give me my money.
That was a pretty funny character.
I want the desserts and deliciousness and delicacies. Like, actually, give me my money.
I do wish they did more with the interaction between Paul Bettany and him.
Oh.
Because they just did kind of one-liners, so you could tell they were building the camaraderie.
Watt was like, I don't understand women, and he was like, yeah. Like, but they understand us. Well, maybe not you. Like, it was just this great little zingers. They were fantastic. It's beautiful. You could also do the drinking game with this. Every time that I say it, I'm kind of like flinching inside now.
Oh, when you say beautiful?
Yeah.
I've just tuned it out.
That's fun. That's great. Yes.
Maybe you should just have a list in front of you. Like synonyms for the word beautiful.
First of all, you said cinnamon.
Oh, did I?
You said cinnamon.
I thought I said synonyms.
Synonym. No, you said cinnamon, and I was like, should I?
You should have cinnamons on the side.
Cinnamon rolls. I have a cinnamon roll at home.
Oh, man. You're going to bring them next time.
Maybe.
A little bit.
Do you want a cinnamon roll?
No, I don't.
You don't like sweets. Why would you be like,
but
you're
you've
going to
brought
bring it
food
next
here
time?
to eat before, so it's, you know. So now I'm just preempting it in my brain.
We could talk for hours about food. I could just like bring food and then.
But I don't like cinnamon rolls. I actually don't like sweet stuff. So I don't really. I think the only time I like cinnamon.
And Isaac complains that I have no taste.
Oh, but that is very true. Although I guess some people like cinnamon, so not synonyms, but some people like synonyms too. Yeah.
Synonyms are beautiful. But so it's something where basically he goes and with these friends, so his two main guy friends, and then he ends up in the company of Geoffrey Chaucer, who is there pretty much just to be useful. It's like, all right, we'll take care of you for a little bit. It's like a quid pro quo kind of thing. And then he ends up kind of hanging out a little bit longer, and it actually works. And there's this loyalty that ends up happening when he's like, all right, like I'll treat you like a human being and take care of this for you. And then the idea of like, he's indebted to him but it was out of loyalty and honor, instead of it just being like, okay, hey dude, like you owe me your life now because I've spent like 10 gold pieces on you, like, and so it was something where, and then he ends up with the lovely blacksmith, who my brain is Kate. There we go. Duh, Kate. I keep saying her other names. Yeah, no, she's Kate.
No, she's Laura Fraser.
Yeah. And she is actually in Doctor Who. Random fun fact that I didn't know until last night.
Kate or Laura Fraser?
Laura Fraser.
Oh, it would be cool if Kate was in Doctor Who.
Kate the blacksmith was in Doctor Who.
Yeah, because Doctor Who can travel in time, right?
That'd
so
be
he just
fantastic.
Goes back. He's like, in this world, Kate exists.
Okay. I wouldn't mind that. But
what is she in Doctor Who?
I really don't know. I just know she's in Doctor Who. I didn't really care. And
Sorry to press you on that.
The friend that I was watching it with was like, wait, I think she's in. And he looked it up and was like, oh, she is. And I was like, all right, cool. Good stuff.
I like the blacksmith character more than I'm gonna just call her the princess character because
Okay.
yeah, lady in noble birth character is
Doesn't
just too
flow
much
right.
of a
Doesn't flow right.
not tongue twister, but too much of a mouthful. But yeah, I really like the blacksmith more than the Jocelyn. That's her name. Right?
Yeah.
Jocelyn, and I think it's really kind of she builds much more camaraderie with the group.
Yeah.
And because as a viewer, you're kind of invested in this group, and so when she joins the group, she becomes part of that dynamic. She becomes, and she of course she's competent in her job, and she's actually useful to the group. Whereas the lady of noble birth
is just a silly girl with a flower.
Well, I didn't think of her that way, but I just thought of her as I actually thought they would end up breaking up Heath Ledger's character with her, especially when they were arguing, doing that argument.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, this is a chance for
him to be with
the blacksmith lady. Yay! Like it's gonna be a great group dynamic. And yeah,
he was
it didn't.
disappointed.
And I was disappointed. I was very disappointed.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't have put her with him until like much later because he's not mature enough. Yeah, he's not mature enough.
Oh
for
yeah,
her.
sure.
And so something where I don't think that he would have, because he would have settled for her instead of it being like the high aspiring thing, and then she would have settled for him because he wasn't like actually in love with her. Like I did not see that ever happening.
Right. I mean, of course, the story would have kind of had to do a bigger twist on his character in the sense that you would have had to redefine kind of high aspiring, right? Have him be humbled. Right, and then the definition of high aspiring is not lady of noble birth, but a lady who's actually competent in what she does. And so that's what would be.
One of the things that I found that was funny is the fact that all the men that I've watched this movie with, like my dad, a lot of my friends, and like random guys that have watched this movie, they all think that the blacksmith is hotter than the main girl. And usually, like if they don't think that the blacksmith is the hottest chick, they think the handmaid is the hottest chick. So it's still not Jocelyn. It's the handmaid or it's the blacksmith.
But I think part of that is that that servant character,
handmaid,
handmaid. There you go. Even that handmaid
Christina.
character, her character has interaction with the group.
That's true.
Right. Whereas the Jocelyn character doesn't really. She kind of has. She has interaction with Heath Ledger's character. I should just call him William, right? She has interaction with William, right? But almost all of their interactions are based on conflict. Right? So
true.
Just in terms of it's almost like I know you don't know this because you've never watched Friends, but it's almost like in Friends, Ross and Rachel are meant to be together, quote unquote.
Okay.
But part of what makes their relationship interesting is that when they were together, they always fought, right?
Oh.
And so in the beginning of that I was going to say film, but that TV series, right? You have the typical love story I think at that point it wasn't really typical, but of the guy gets the girl, right? Finally, the guy who's been loving this girl finally gets the crush of his dreams, but then
they fight all the time.
Hell breaks loose, and everything that she does kind of ticks or nags at all of his character flaws, right? And so they have all these fights, and so very early on in the seasons, they actually break up, and they each have to learn kind of how to deal with each other before they get back together. And so but that's a journey, right? That you have to go through. Whereas this one, it's just the conflict. Right?
That's true.
They fight all the time, and so
it's also something where one of the things that you should do when you're in a relationship with someone is see how well they get along with your friends, because you are like your closest friends, and your closest friends are like you. So if that person doesn't like your closest friends and doesn't actively want to be near your closest friends, at some point they're gonna have issues with you, and so it's something where, it's like parents are important, friends are important. Pets are important. Like if I'm terrified of snakes, which I am, and like the man I fall in love with is like we should have like a snake house in the backyard dedicated purely to poisonous snakes. We're gonna have issues. Like it doesn't matter how hot he is or how well he gets along with
what
my
to tell your future husband.
Oh God, no, please don't. Please don't. Please.
Do you want to play a prank on Rosemary?
You don't understand.
I will financially help you with this.
Oh God. There's actually these snake socks. They're like thigh-high snake socks.
Oh, yeah.
And there have been people with broken bones because they wore that snake sock next to their partner, spouse person.
And they
they're
freaked out?
Yes. And I know, like, actually when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, I would have absolutely broken their leg. Like, if I like open up the covers and there is
But does
long
it look
snake,
like a real?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It is actually like a detailed thing.
Wow. Okay.
And the fabric looks like a snake. Like the only weird part is that a human leg doesn't quite look like a snake because it's a little too straight. It's a little too like long. Like,
but when you're sleeping, you don't really recognize
or
that.
at night, or when you're flipping over the covers and just instinct like, "Whoo, snake!" And just this chick just I think she like had a baseball bat next to the bed or whatever, and just like wham!
Oh my gosh.
And then he screamed or she screamed. I actually don't remember who it was. I think it was the dude who was out of the bed, and he just like wham and broke her leg.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So the worst I've seen is instead of someone wearing socks,
Yeah.
the bedspread is snakes. So it
No.
looks like you're just like in a sea of snakes.
No,
and
no,
it's
no,
just,
no, 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 no.
I mean, they don't
no.
move, obviously.
I don't care.
That was probably the grossest one I've seen.
I would not be able to sleep. I wouldn't be able to get in the bed. Like I'd like you'd have to pay me. There would have to be bribery, and even then I would be like so uncomfortable. Like I'd have to close my eyes.
Right.
I'd have to pretend like that didn't exist, and then if anything moved on the bed, whether it's the sheet or not,
Right.
because I moved, I would panic. Like, whew, sorry.
So
that
we
was
would
very
do
loud
one.
reaction. Just
We would do one of
no.
those sleep number beds, right? Where it like does starts massaging you, right?
No. No. No, I'm good without that in my life. I'm so good without that in my life.
I need to send you the picture.
No, we're good. We are so good, Isaac. It's not necessary. But the point was, actually I don't remember what the point was for the snakes part, but the idea of like your friends are who you are, and so it's something or part of who you are, and so it's something where if you're dating someone and they don't like your friends, that's a really good sign.
Well, it's never established that she doesn't like the friends.
No, but there isn't any interactions with
Right.
the friends.
Yeah,
Versus with the blacksmith, with Kate and with Christina, they both actually have interactions with the friends. Like
Right.
you can tell that Roland likes Christina. He likes the handmaid, and Walt thinks that she's pretty, and like Jeff probably likes her, and so like there's certain things that happen. Versus with Jocelyn, there's no interaction with the less noble people.
So I think as a viewer, I mean, I'm trying to, I guess, just take this rationally, but as a viewer, because you see that kind of interaction, you're much more just sucked into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more believable that this interaction happens
Okay.
rather than just William when he first sees Jocelyn, right? That's the first time I put the actual names on there for both characters.
Nice.
So when he first sees her,
How did you like the horse in the church scene?
the force in the church,
Grinning right now. The horse.
the horse in the church scene.
That's the first scene when he sees her. Is he walks a horse into the
Oh, right.
cathedral.
Right. I didn't really think of anything of it.
Nothing.
Yeah. It was, I mean,
You desecrate the house of God.
oh, right. Well,
So big. He's so entranced by her that he doesn't realize he's just like walking a horse into the church.
I guess I did. Okay. I guess I didn't get that
That
part.
was hilarious.
I know that was happening, but I didn't, I was not tuned in at that point. And
But
so-
yeah, but he's like, tell me your name, and she's like, blah 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 blah. Like, you don't need a name. You're just a hunter. And then it's like that line of like, you desecrate
Right.
the house.
So their
of
first interaction
God!
is-
and this dude has to
Their
like,
first
go out.
interaction
Yeah.
is conflict.
Conflict. Yeah.
Their second interaction is also conflict, I think. Right? Because
Is it the banquet thing?
the banquet thing.
No,
Oh,
no,
no.
because it's
I'm
the
wrong.
perhaps because angels have no names, and so Adamar is the one providing conflict. There isn't conflict with her in that one.
Okay, you're right.
And then
It's the banquet after that.
I think.
Okay, so the second one wasn't right because they danced together and everything like that.
Yeah, and that one wasn't conflict either.
But then the third one is conflict, where they kind of quote unquote
yeah.
break up or whatever because they have a
Silly
difference of
flower
opinion, right?
girl and
And then
boy with a horse and a stick. It's called a lance. Hello. I love what? It's amazing.
maybe we should put that as the ending quote.
So good. No,
Oh,
I
no.
don't know. No.
Okay, all right.
Anything. But
So yeah, so they have
yeah.
conflict there, and then they write a love letter to each other, right?
And then she's like, I want words. give me words in the church later. It was like, you wrote poetry.
Oh, right.
I want poetry.
Right,
And,
yeah,
and
so
he's like, your
another-
breasts are below your throat.
That was a funny line. I did laugh out loud at
But
that.
it's also like so accurate though. Like I know people on both sides of like male, female. Like whether you have like all male friends or like all female friends or like a mixture group, when you're like sending that text or that letter or that note or that thing to like that special person, and it's like a collaborative group effort to make sure you don't send something stupid.
All right.
And so when they all write the letter, like that's honestly probably one of my favorite parts of the movie is the group getting together and writing the letter, which is hilarious, especially since like it's not just him writing it. So
Right.
she's reading all these words of like all of his friends. Again, case in point, you and your friends freaking together anyway. And so it's something where she loves the words that he, quotation marks,
That's why
sent her.
That's actually why even at that point I thought,
He would still go with the blacksmith?
yeah, because in my head I was thinking, oh, she's going to realize that he didn't write this and that he's just kind of like this pretending
Illiterate
or like
peasant.
yeah, well but just this kind of guy that's just he's faking it. He's trying to lie to her, right?
Yeah.
Deceive her and everything. But they didn't go that direction.
I actually was a little impressed that she didn't throw a fit. I think that is one of the reasons why I like her and I don't have things against her. Like, I don't think that she's like the best female lead ever, but I do actually really like her because when she finds out that the man she's in love with is the son of a Thatcher, she doesn't
Oh, but she doesn't find out at that point, right? She finds out a little bit later.
Well, no,
I
later.
think.
Well, no, she still finds out later,
Right.
and it's after she slept with him, though. And so, like, most
Right.
women would feel, like, horrifically and mortified and offended and be like, you lied to me, and that would have been a whole nother conflict. And she's just like, no, like, I will run away with you. Like, we can go sleep with the pigs. Like, she doesn't understand the concept of that, but, like, she's like, I will go sleep with the pigs in order to have you. Like, the poor can marry for love, she says so ignorantly. But, like, no, not ignorantly. It's more like, well, it's kind of ignorant. Anyway,
Well, it's
point is,
just
but
the
like,
idea
but she
of-
doesn't throw a big, huge fit that he's lied to her, and that's not common for women, especially in film. Most women in film, especially in romance movies, would have been like, "You
Oh,
lied
that's
to
what you
me.
mean.
How
Right.
dare you? Blah 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 blah." And like, I actually like the fact that she didn't do that.
Right, but
just accepted
remember,
it, took
I
it, and
was
moved
already
forward.
thinking, okay, this guy should be with a blacksmith,
Got
not
it.
with her. So I was thinking, okay, they can do that, use that as an excuse for his character to leave and chase something else, because, you know,
That wouldn't have been as interesting, but okay, fine.
I think that would have been more interesting, just in terms of.
Well, you like the slice of life thing. So the idea that he has this slice of his life where he gets to be a knight and then he goes off and lives a normal life, still able to enjoy the fact that he changed his stars for a brief period of time, would have been interesting for you. That wouldn't have been interesting for me.
Well,
I want him to achieve his dreams and goals.
but his dreams and goals.
Are
Right.
illegal.
So you would need that redefinition, right?
Okay.
That we were talking about before. So I'm not saying that the thought I'm having is complete in the movie. I think
Okay.
in the movie they did chase the thread that they were trying to pull out the entire time.
Mhm.
But just in terms of probably because I liked the character more of the blacksmith more than
Yeah.
the
Well, I liked her more.
the princess, and so I was thinking, okay, this is how they can do it, right? I wasn't thinking that this is a very consistent way to do it, but I was thinking that could be a way to do it,
Mhm.
but they didn't. So
No, I like that. But yeah, but
you've
Hallie
seen this
is-
movie since
Oh, I've
you
seen
were a
this movie
kid,
so much. Yeah.
so I'm sure it has had a lot of influence on the way that you write
Yes.
or the way that you do
Yeah.
fiction.
Well, and part of it, okay, so for example, one of the things with the dragon story that people like is the fact that I did have this kind of like lone character who pretty much the only reason why he starts off with his brother at all is because it's like an ultimatum thing of like his dad's like, you're going to take your brother with you. There's
This
not
isn't
really.
the dragon story, right?
This is the dragon
Oh,
story.
this is the dragon story. I
And so
knew it.
because
Right.
the brother basically. The dragon story that everyone likes so much. I knew it. Sorry, that was beautiful. Anyway,
No, because it
he-
sounded familiar, but I was like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe that's not how the dragon story starts.
Yeah.
I was like,
No,
okay,
because
never mind.
the story starts with Jackson wanting his own castle.
Mhm.
He wants his own castle away from his family because his family sucks. Like how many people like just I don't know. I like the idea of like this knight who doesn't want to defeat a dragon to defeat a dragon. It's just like, no, I just want the castle, dude. Like I don't care about anything else. I don't want the princess. Princess, you can go somewhere else.
Did
like
we
I
explain
just
the
want
dragon
this.
story?
No.
Oh, we might want to explain the dragon story a little bit, or you might want to explain.
I was gonna explain it
Oh,
like
that was your
months and
explanation.
months and months ago, and then Isaac was like, you shouldn't give away your secrets. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, I just meant like a
cool.
brief summary of what the dragon story is, not tell everybody what it is.
I want to tell the details. Anyway,
okay.
fine. I'm not that. It sounded
Do
like
whatever you want, Rosemary.
oh, Grenda. I sound like Grenda. That's what it was.
Who's
Grenda
Grenda?
from Gravity Falls.
Oh, right.
That's
okay, I don't
who
know.
it was. There's I flip back and forth between the reporter and Grenda.
When you say Grenda, I imagine a mean old witch.
She's like a very, very, very. How would you say this?
Is she a
Masculine
mean old
13-year-old.
witch? Oh, okay. Never mind. That's not what I was
I
thinking.
think they're in middle school.
Sounds like a tomboy.
So yeah, but like she thick.
Tomboys can be thick.
I know. I was one. And I'm just like.
You were
Anyway,
a thick
she's
tomboy?
fun. Well, yeah. After like in middle school, high school, I still like wore dresses and went around
So
barefoot. So it was like this
you-
weird tomboy fairy thing. I don't know.
You were a thick tomboy. You now sound like a thick tomboy? Is that what you're saying? I don't know if that's evolving or devolving at that
I
point.
don't know. I don't know. Anyway, point is
Dragon story.
Dragon Story.
What is the dragon story about?
Dragon Story is about this young knight who wants to get his own castle, and the only way he can do that is by defeating a dragon or killing a dragon, and because that's the law of the land, is if you kill a dragon, you get the land that it's on. Some dragons are in swamps, some dragons are in random open fields, some dragons are at castles. So he wants to go to one of the castles. Usually they have bigger dragons, meaner dragons that are guarding the castles. And so he wants to go defeat a dragon so he can have his own private place and
For
be
our
away from
listeners,
everyone.
doesn't that sound like an amazing story? I'm not even being sarcastic
I
here.
know.
Like the premise of that story is so good. The first time I heard it, I think I remember just like as I was hearing, I was like, you need to write this
Yeah.
story.
And then it gets even better too because there's a whole bunch of like psychology and stuff that's like just
Well,
built
no,
into it,
even
and
in
it's
that
fun.
premise, you are already hearing
Yeah.
that those themes play out, and it's you need to write the story, Rosemary. Anyway, continue.
working
How
on
is the Knight's Tale? How did the Knight's Tale
So
inspire
with
you?
that, the idea of like you have it's actually a little bit different because the fact that like William loves his friends. William wants his friends there with him, and so it's something where Jackson is like, no, stop bringing me people. I don't want you guys. I just want to be alone. And he ends up accumulating people who he does care about and wants to take care of, and he allows himself to have that camaraderie and have that togetherness, and like he ends up healing his relationship with his brother over this, and it's like one of several siblings, and so he doesn't heal relationships with the other siblings, it's just this one brother. But like
Oh, you know what would have been really interesting in Knight's Tale is if the princess and William, there you go, Jocelyn and William started off getting along really well, and then something breaks them up, and they have to, for the rest of the movie, try to kind of mend that relationship. I think that would have
been interesting. That would have been interesting, especially because then it would have played a little more into Adamar's character, because she would have used Adamar to make William like jealous and stuff too, and so it's
But
possible.
of course, she doesn't want him.
She doesn't
and
want
so-
Adamar at all, and so that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what you're basically saying, like with your dragon story? We gotta
Not
stop calling it dragon story. Maybe
It's more like, okay, so the two main characters both basically want the same thing. It's just that like the princess, or what everyone calls her a princess, she's not actually, but like the princess of the castle,
in your story.
she has in my
Okay,
in my story she has a castle. And so he's trying to take her castle away from her because he wants a castle, and there's a dragon attached to the castle. He's like, well, once I kill the dragon legally, this castle's mine.
Right.
And she's like, don't you dare.
Right.
And so
This is
like
her castle.
there's that conflict there versus, but it's really funny because so there's the two brothers. And so you have Jackson and then his sibling, and the sibling is there for the princess, and Jackson is there for the castle. And so the princess has to spend
okay.
time with the two brothers, and she prefers Jackson
Right.
because he's the one who's not there for her. And so the brother keeps trying to woo her, and it's like, I love you, and you're beautiful and gorgeous and fantastic, and he's just, you're mine. And she's like, no, I'm not. I'm
that
gonna go
reminds
hide.
me of Shrek and Prince Charming
Yes,
Yeah.
kind of.
a little bit.
Prince Charming has less redeeming qualities than my character.
Well,
I
but
do
it's-
actually like the brother.
I'm just talking about the
He's
rivalry
just
between
he's
them.
honestly, the brother is probably more like me, like as far as like romantic, he's just an idiot. He's just like, love and romance will solve all of my problems, and that's not true at all whatsoever. But like that's kind of what he thinks. Is he's like, if I have this perfect princess, if I have this perfect woman who's gonna be by my side for the rest of my life, then like everything else will go away. Like all the rest of the problems don't matter if I have this woman. And that's Jackson's problem. Is he thinks that the castle will make all of his problems go away, and that's not how that works. Just because you have a nice, comfortable home, like yes, it definitely makes a lot of things easier, but like your problems don't go away because you have a really beautiful home. Like that doesn't happen, especially when you don't have to deal with other people. Like at some point you start wanting people. Like you're human, you need community, you need other human beings. And so it's something where
there was a cartoon, I think, or a meme I saw a long time ago where like it was just one frame of the cartoon, I think. Oh no! It was 4 frames or something, and like there was a knight at the bottom of the castle, and he's like, "I'm gonna come, kill you, dragon," and all this kind of stuff. And the dragon like looks over, and he looks back at the princess, and he's like, "That knight's kind of a douche or whatever," and she's like, "All right, just kill him."
Oh, I think that's Slackworm. Was it a red dragon?
I think so.
Yes, that's Slackworm. That's a really good dragon cartoon. I like that. It's basically like this it's a somewhat
that's what
lazy
your story
dragon.
first reminded me of when I first heard it.
Okay.
I was like, oh, that's a really interesting little thing.
Yeah, the dragon kind of just wants to be left alone.
Right.
But also have servants that bring him food and giant pillows.
Well, the idea of a dragon, I guess in mythology, which is what Tolkien kind of grabbed onto, was
hoarding.
Right, they hoard treasure, and they like to seek out treasure. So like dragon represents greed, or represents some kind of or gluttony, or some kind of sin and everything like that. And so there's
actually a book I like that's about dragons. It's called Dragon Slippers, and they actually go and all the dragons hoard like different things. So one of them hoards shoes, one of them hoards stained glass windows, and so sometimes they used to be gifted. Like these were things of like, hey, if we give you a thing that you love, you'll like bless us with whatever the thing was. And then when they ended up getting hunted, it ended up being more of a stealing thing of like you have to go steal the stained glass windows. So all of a sudden there's just like you finish the stained glass window, it's perfect and gorgeous and gone. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, we are basically done with talking about the Knight's Tale.
I don't know. Is anything out of curiosity? It's a Knight's Tale, but like out of curiosity, because I know you like honor and integrity and these kind of things in your stories and the slice of life stuff. Is there anything about this that has similarities to anything that you've written? Because I can see similarities, but I also love this movie and can kind of just put it places.
You can see similarities between this and what I've written?
Yeah, like stuff in Ribbon-Astra with like the groups, the friends, and then Well,
I haven't seen. I like literally last night and this morning was when I saw this movie.
True.
So I can't say that this movie has any influence on what I write.
Well, not influence. I'm saying like
anything
similarities and parallels.
Except to write up notes for this for this podcast. Maybe it influenced that. I don't know.
I don't know.
Could have, right?
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. For me, I mentioned in the beginning, but just it gave me a new appreciation for Heath Ledger's acting ability. That he was able to, and I think at this point he was either from here or since this, right? Or into this, he was typecast as this kind of handsome idol-ish
comedian dude who has like a little bit of a dark side, but not much.
Well, just like it's not really a dark side; it's more like more of a somber, serious side, right? But then the contrast between this and the Joker is so it's so wide, and he does both characters really well. I was 100% convinced of him as this character in this film, which is the part that made me enjoy it much more than some of your or almost all of your other films. And so, I mean, I mentioned
this was actually, when we started, this was one of the movies that I thought he was going to like. And so I'm glad that I'm not horribly wrong about it.
Well, I do enjoy it more,
than
mostly due to Heath Ledger and Paul Bettany's performances.
I've just ground your standards of me down into the dust. So now that it's slightly better than dust, you're like, oh my gosh, Rosemary, thank you for not having me wash your trash.
I didn't suffer through this movie.
No suffering happened.
But yeah, so I enjoyed their performances, and just it kind of...
No suffering happened during the making of this film.
During the watching. But yeah, just kind of seeing... I always really appreciate when I can see an actor kind of the actor himself or herself kind of take a back seat, and you can see the character.
Yes.
And that's really like I appreciate that so much because it kind of draws me into that world. And I mean, another thing I mentioned before was like this film has really some really gorgeous sets, right? And
The
one I
music
remember
is gorgeous and the sets are beautiful.
Yeah, the one I remember is when they're going to the World Championship or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's that drawbridge scene, and all the town is coming in, and they're going in and everything like that. And it's just the world there is just kind of the visual aspect just like kind of sucks you in.
It's real.
Yeah.
It feels real.
It feels very real, right? And then him being the focal character as the horses are coming in and everything like that, really kind of grabbed me and put me in that world. And I really appreciate that. I think when a story is able to do that, I'm just able to much better appreciate it, and I can sort of turn off the analytic brain part of it. Because I want to, right?
I guess that's
I want to turn it off.
Kind of how
when
I watch
a
movies is like if I can turn it off, which is one of the reasons why I like The Shack. We kind of mentioned this last time, and so Isaac and I had a discussion about it. And like I can turn off the things that he doesn't like about the movie because I can actually like get into the movie enough that it doesn't bother me.
Right.
And so
I mean, we were talking about this before. It was just for me, it's the first half or first part of that movie.
First third.
Is it first third?
It's like a third.
So the first third of that movie, when you have the tragedy of what happened with that family, I was sucked in.
Yeah.
Once we got to the shack, I was completely sucked out, and so I couldn't engage at that point. And so this movie did really well. I would say Heath Ledger did really well.
I like the way that the friends
in
though, because
to
Jeffrey Chaucer, Watt, and Roland were also really good too. The blacksmith broke a couple of times where like I could see the actors through the blacksmith, but she was still like she did a really good job.
Yeah.
But most of the actors did a really good job with this film. Like you don't really see the actor or actress. You
I
see
think
the
when
character.
they act together, as a group, not when the camera's focused on a single person, but when they act together as a group, the group dynamic works really well. You can see the chemistry really well, and then of course for me, when you have Heath Ledger and Paul Bettany, they're singular characters. Like when Paul Bettany comes out as a nudist, and it's just the funniest thing. Like
if you want to see Vision's
lanky,
butt,
skinny
here's
dude.
how you get to see Vision's butt.
I mean, technically you can see Vision's butt because he's basically naked until he gets the cape, right?
But it's different. It's like having like body paint where it's still like you can still tell, but like it's also like whoa, illusion.
Right. So but he's just nude.
Yeah.
it's one of, and he plays off this crazy like kind of insane character.
Well, it's also like when he's talking, he's like when we went to Italy, he saved a fatherless beauty from the would-be ravishings of her dreadful Turkish uncle. And then in Greece...
That was a great speech.
In Greece, he spent a year of silence in order to better understand the sound of a whisper. and then he goes through and it's like, I always forget what the first one is. It's just, I'm a little sad now, but it's like...
Wait, is that the one where he stops
and
no one claps?
The protector of Italian virginity. And it's like, the one, and it's just, it's great.
Wait, is that the one where no one claps first? Or...
There was one that's the sword fight one.
Oh, okay, yeah. That one was great.
We walk in the garden of his turbulence.
Right, yeah.
Silence,
And then,
silence. Hey! Rolling just like, and then everyone joins in. They're just like, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing?
Because at that point in time, I would guess like there's no establishment
what is turbulence?
Well, there's no establishment of like the theater yet, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't know when to clap. You don't know
you're just like, is it done?
Is
it silence? What is this? And so versus he's like, my lords, my ladies, and all you other people in here not sitting on our cushion. And it's just he's fantastic. His speeches are great.
If I were to go back and watch this movie, I think the thing I would pay attention to is Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
I would want to watch how he does his characterizations because one of the things that I'm very weak at is writing funny characters.
Oh.
And so one of the things I would want to see, because his funny is more of the slapstick, but there's still wit behind his humor. And so
there's a lot of wit.
Yeah, I want to see how he's interplaying that and everything.
He plays off as the jester joker person, but he does have a lot more seriousness to his character, and that's one of the reasons why there's depth to him. He's a human being. Like that's the way that they're portraying him. And so
so I think if I were to watch this movie again, that's what I would be paying attention to, just to kind of see if I can kind of break down what he's doing and then kind of draw it into what I want to write. And so, yeah, I guess to answer your question, that would be it. And now we've come to the point. We're finished with the movie, and we're going to
Draw from the heart.
Have you seen Whose Line? Is it anyways?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
like
I was going
that
to say
show.
Scenes
It's a
from a
good-
Hat, but
Scenes from a
I love Scenes from a Hat.
hat.
But instead, we're going to draw from the hat.
It's multiple scenes from a hat. It's a sequence of scenes from a hat called a movie.
Right, film. And so it's your turn.
It's my turn because you
Alright, so
picked
I did the drum roll.
Knight's Tale because you can
Right.
read it.
I did the drum roll. Ready?
Yeah. Oh! Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Okay. Blade Runner is going to be the next movie that we watch.
All right.
I actually thought that was okay. Anyways,
Did you wait? Was that your guess?
I was thinking that was going to be the next movie. I wanted that to be the next movie that we watched
I kind
for
of
our
wanted
two
to see
lists.
the next movie because I know what the other ones are, and I kind of want to watch the other ones after I watch Blade Runner. Cause
Right.
Sorry. I had the card. The cards are bent, and it was folded like upside down, and it popped back up to its regular form, and it startled me.
It scared her. It was like the snake in her bed.
Oh God, no. But
Yeah, so we're gonna watch
yeah.
Blade Runner next.
Woo!
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. But before we end, we always have quotes or jokes that we want to tell, and so now we're going to go to our
Dime
segment.
segment. You get one less Grenda voice. That was the Grenda voice. Anyway,
Wait, I thought the Grenda voice was higher,
maybe a little bit, but like there are times where it's lower and higher, but it's still that
Oh.
like growly, gravelly
but
thing.
she's still the tomboyish character. I'm
Yeah.
trying to imagine it. I just
You
can't.
can't.
I just can't.
You just need to go watch Gravity Falls. That's all.
Okay, all right. I will try.
Just go watch Gravity Falls. And I don't recommend TV shows lightly because or movies, honestly. And so it's something
But
where
this is a cartoon, right? Like each
Mhm.
episode's like
It's
20
an animated-
minutes.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
it's surprisingly easy to get
It'll
through,
be
especially for
easier
2
to watch.
seasons.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
only 2 seasons.
It's only 2 seasons.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
I
they do a
probably
good
will
job.
be able to find time.
Especially if you want to know how to write funny characters, they do a really good job with like having like in-depth characters for the purpose of like comedy. They do a really good job.
If I come back after watching it and I'm like, that was not funny at all.
I think you'll like it.
Okay.
I actually genuinely think that it's not okay. It's not like most of the TV shows that I've watched, either like for the purpose of like, okay, we can talk about this thing, or because you recommended it. They're not like they're serious.
Mm.
This is not meant to be. It's meant to be a comedy that also has like serious stuff to it, rather than like a serious thing that has comedy. Anyway, but yeah, so with the dime segment, so I have a quote from Ananias Nin. I'm not actually 100% sure if I'm pronouncing that right.
I don't even know who that is.
But yeah, but there's a book called The Diary of Ananias Nin, and I think it's like Anise. I don't know. But
It's a book,
it's from a book.
but the guy who wrote it is called Ananias
Nin. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so he wrote the book and it's his diary.
Yeah.
Or her diary.
It's really horrible because I'm pretty sure that it's a
No,
her,
it's a-
but I'm not 100%
Oh.
sure.
Okay.
I just also really like the quote.
All right.
But one of the themes of this movie is like
Is
a
this person
destiny and
still
changing
alive?
your stars and stuff. I would assume not, because
Oh,
the book
okay.
was published in 1931.
Okay.
So
we
no, actually it was
apologize
written about
to-
1931 to 34, so it would be after that. So yeah, no.
We apologize to Ananias Nins progeny.
Oh. Anyway, okay. So the quote, a little bit long, just because Isaac gets lost.
I'm still gonna get lost.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right. So, what we call our destiny is truly our character, and that character can be altered. The knowledge that we are responsible for our actions and attitudes does not need to be discouraging, because it also means that we are free to change this destiny. One is not in bondage to the past, which has shaped our feelings, our race, inheritance, and background. All this can be altered if we have the courage to examine how it formed us. We can alter the chemistry provided we have the courage to dissect the elements. And one of the things with this movie, the reason why that stuck, because it is a little wordy and it is a little long, but it's something where with William, one of the reasons I love him is because of his character.
Okay.
His character is so strong, and there it has flaws. He's a very, very human character, and it's something where he kind of understands that he does need to look at where he came from and he needs to accept where he came from, but it also doesn't mean that that's the only place he can ever go is through his past. Like, he can go in a different direction, and so his character helps him move forward, and I really, really love and appreciate that he doesn't despise his past. He doesn't despise where he came from, but he still wants to aim high. He still wants to move forward with his life, and that's just really impressive to me and really important. And again, I like people who have dreams, because like I have dreams. My dreams are kind of small and they're kind of just personal. Like I'll be happy if like I write and finish a book that I can read. Like I don't necessarily need other people to read it. Like it'd be really nice if other people read it and liked it, but the dream is to have a book finished that I love. And so it's something where when people have big dreams, it inspires me a little bit. And I love being able to help people with their dreams and bring their dreams to life, because I don't have really big dreams that other people can help me with. And so with the stories that they're writing, it's fun.
Well, that's actually a pretty big dream, right? To help other people.
Yeah. But it's also like there's so many things that you can do to help people, that like I could help people by like opening up a soup kitchen. I could also help people by picking up trash on the side of a road. Like there's so many little things that like to help people the way that I want to help people is different.
In terms of I thought you just meant in terms of like writing and everything, but
well, with writing, like I want to help people, but like that's also
open
not.
Up a soup kitchen.
I actually do at some point. I do like
that
the
sounds
idea
pretty
of
good.
just
Rosemary's soup kitchen.
Oh god,
I can see that.
Have a little like rosemary pattern on the outside of all the dishes.
That would be pretty cool.
It'd be interesting. Anyway,
all right,
sidetracked. But
we are done with this.
Yeah,
if you
hope you guys enjoyed it today.
If you liked it, just like and subscribe. If you're on our YouTube channel, if you're not, you can subscribe on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
We're now on Spotify
Podcast,
and everywhere where podcasts exist.
Yeah.
And next time, not next week, but next time, we will be doing Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Hope you guys have a great week.
Woo!
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Behold, my Lord Ulrich, the rock, the hard place. Like a wind from Geldland he sweeps by, blown far from his homeland in search of glory and honor. We walk in the garden of his turbulence.